Chapter 3. Elendil was walking in his garden, but not to look upon its beauty in the evening light. He was troubled, and his mind was turned inward. His house with its white tower and golden roof glowed behind him in the sunset, but his eyes were on the path before his feet. He was going down to the shore to bathe in the blue pools of the cove beyond his garden's end, as was his custom at this hour, and he looked also to find his son Herendil there. The time had come when he must speak to him. He came at length to the great hedge of lavaralda that fenced the garden at its lower western end. It was a familiar sight, though the ears could not dim its beauty. It was 7/12 of years or more since he had planted it himself when planting his garden before his marriage, and he had blessed his good fortune. For the seeds had come from Ersea far westward, whence ships came seldom already in those days, and now they came no more. But the spirit of that blessed land and its fair people remained still in the trees that had grown from those seeds. Their long green leaves were golden on the undersides, and as a breeze off the water stirred them, they whispered with the sound of many soft voices and glistened like sunbeams on rippling waves. The flowers were pale with a yellow flush, and lay thickly on the branches like a sunlit snow, and their odor filled all the lower garden, faint but clear. Mariners in the old days said that the scent of lavaralda could be felt on the air long ere the land of Ersea could be seen, and that it brought a desire of rest and great content. He had seen the trees in flower day after day, for they rested from flowering only at rare intervals. But now, suddenly, as he passed, the scent struck him with a keen fragrance, at once known and utterly strange. He seemed for a moment never to have smelled it before. It pierced the troubles of his mind, bewildering, bringing no familiar content, but a new disquiet. Ersea, Ersea, he said. I wish I were there and had not been fated to dwell in Numenor halfway between the worlds, and least of all in these days of perplexity. He passed under an arch of shining leaves and walked swiftly down rock-hewn steps to the white beach. Elendil looked about him, but he could not see his son. A picture rose in his mind of Herendil's white body, strong and beautiful upon the threshold of early manhood, cleaving the water or lying on the sand glistening in the sun. But Herendil was not there, and the beach seemed oddly empty. Elendil stood and surveyed the cove and its rocky walls once more, and as he looked, his eyes rose by chance to his own house among trees and flowers upon the slopes above the shore, white and golden, shining in the sunset. And he stopped and gazed, for suddenly the house stood there, as a thing at once real and visionary, as a thing in some other time and story, beautiful, beloved, but strange, a waking desire, as if it were part of a mystery that was still hidden. He could not interpret the feeling. He sighed. I suppose it is the thread of word that maketh me look upon fair things with such disquiet, he thought. The shadow of fear is between us and the sun, and all things look as if they were already lost, yet they are strangely beautiful, the scene. I do not know. I wonder. Numenore! I hope the trees will blossom on your hills in years to come as they do now, and your towers will stand white in the moon and yellow in the sun. I wish it were not hope, but assurance, the assurance we used to have before the shadow. But where is Herendil? I must see him and speak to him more clearly than we have spoken yet, ere it is too late. The time is getting short. Herendil, he called, and his voice echoed along the hollow shore above the soft sound of the light falling waves. Herendil. And even as he called, he seemed to hear his own voice, and to mark that it was strong and curiously melodious. Herendil, he called again. At length there was an answering call. A young voice, very clear, came from some distance away, like a bell out of a deep cave. Manye, Auto, Manye? For a brief moment it seemed to Elendil that the words were strange. Manye, Auto? What is it, father? Then the feeling passed. Where art thou? Here. I cannot see thee. I am upon the wall, looking down on thee. Elendil looked up and then swiftly climbed another flight of stone steps at the northern end of the cove. He came out upon a flat space smoothed and leveled on the top of the projecting spur of rock. Here there was room to lie in the sun or sit upon a wide stone seat with its back against the cliff, down the face of which there fell a cascade of trailing stems rich with garlands of blue and silver flowers. Flat upon a stone, with his chin in his hands, lay a youth. He was looking out to sea, and did not turn his head as his father came up and sat down on the seat. Of what art thou dreaming, Herondale, that thy ears hear not? I am thinking. I am not dreaming. I am a child no longer. I know thou art not, said Elendil, and for that reason I wish to find thee and speak with thee. Thou art so often out and away, and so seldom at home these days. He looked down on the white body before him. It was dear to him and beautiful. Herondale was naked, for he had been diving from the high point, being a daring diver and proud of his skill. It seemed suddenly to Elendil that the lad had grown overnight, almost out of knowledge. How doth thou grow? He said. Thou hast the makings of a mighty man, and have nearly fished the making. Why dost thou mock me? Said the boy. Thou knowest I am dark and smaller than most others of my year, and that is a trouble to me. I stand barely to the shoulder of Almario, whose hair is of shining gold, and she is a maiden and of my own age. We hold that we are of the blood of kings, but I tell thee thy friend's sons make a jest of me and call me Terendil, slender and dark, and they say I have Arisan blood, or that I am half Nodal. But that is not set with love in these days. It is but a step from being called half a gnome to being called God-fearing, and that is dangerous. Elendil sighed. Then it must have become perilous to be the son of him that is named Elendil, for that leads to Valendil, God-friend, who is thy father's father. There was a silence. At length, Herondale spoke again. Of whom dost thou say that our king, Tarkalion, is descended? From Arundel, the mariner, son of Tor the mighty, who was lost in these seas. Why then may not the king do as Arundel, from whom he is come? They say that he should follow him and complete his work. What dost thou think that they mean? Whither should he go and fulfill what work? Thou knowest. Did not Arundel voyage to the uttermost west and set foot in that land that is forbidden to us? He doth not die, or so songs say. What callest thou death? He did not return. He forsook all whom he loved ere he stepped on that shore. He saved his kindred by losing them. Were the gods wroth with him? Who knoweth? For he came not back, but he did not dare that deed to serve Malco, but to defeat him, to free men from Malco, not from the lords, to win us the earth, not the land of the lords. And the lords heard his prayer and arose against Malco, and the earth is ours. They say now that the tale was altered by the Arsans, who are slaves of the lords, that in truth Arundel was an adventurer and showed us the way, and that the lords took him captive for that reason, and his work is perforce unfinished. Therefore the son of Arundel, our king, should complete it. They wish to do what has been long left undone. What is that? Thou knowest, to set foot in the far west and not withdraw it. To conquer new realms for our race, it needs the pressure of this peopled island, where every road is trodden hard, and every tree and grass blade counted, to be free and masters of the world, to escape the shadow of sameness and of ending. We would make our king lord of the west, Narun Numenoran. Death comes here slow and seldom, yet it cometh. The land is only a cage, gilded to look like paradise. Yeah, so I've heard others say, said Elendil. But what knowest thou of paradise? Behold, our wandering words have come unguided to the point of my purpose, but I am grieved to find thy mood is of this sort, though I feared it might be so. Thou art my only son, and my dearest child, and I would have us at one in all our choices. But choose we must, thou as well as I, for at thy last birthday thou became subject to arms in the king's service. We must choose between Sauron and the lords, or one higher. Thou knowest, I suppose, that all hearts in Numenor are not drawn to Sauron? Yes, there are fools even in Numenor, said Herondale in a lowered voice. But why speak of such things in this open place? Do you wish to bring evil on me? I bring no evil, said Elendil. That is thrust upon us, but the choice between evils, the first fruits of war. But look, Herondale, our house is one of wisdom and guarded learning, and was long revered for it. I followed my father as I was able. Dost thou follow me? What dost thou know of the history of the world or Numenor? Thou art but 412s, and wert but a small child when Sauron came. Thou dost not understand what days were like before then. Thou canst not choose in ignorance. But others of greater age and knowledge than mine, or thine, have chosen, said Herondale, and they say that history confirmeth them, and that Sauron has thrown a new light on history. Sauron knoweth history, all history. Sauron knoweth, verily, but he twisteth knowledge. Sauron is a liar. Growing anger caused Elendil to raise his voice as he spoke. The words rang out as a challenge. Thou art mad, said his son, turning at last up on his side and facing Elendil with dread and fear in his eyes. Do not say such things to me. They might. Who are they? And what might they do? Said Elendil, but a chill fear passed from his son's eyes to his own heart. Do not ask, and do not speak so loud. Herondale turned away and lay prone with his face buried in his hands. Thou knowest it is dangerous to us all. Whatever he be, Sauron is mighty and hath ears. Fear the dungeons, and I love thee. Atarnia Melane. My father, I love thee. The words sounded strange but sweet. They smote Elendil's heart. Ionia Inye Temela, and I too, my son, I love thee, he said, feeling each syllable strange but vivid as he spoke it. But let us go within. It is too late to bathe. The sun is all but gone. It is bright there westwards, in the gardens of the gods. But twilight and the dark are coming here, and the dark is no longer wholesome in this land. Let us go home. I must tell and ask thee much this evening behind closed doors, where maybe thou wilt feel safer. He looked toward the sea, which he loved, longing to bathe his body in it, as though to wash away weariness and care. But night was coming. The sun had dipped and was fast sinking in the sea. There was fire upon far waves, but it faded almost as it was kindled. A chill wind came suddenly out of the west, ruffling the yellow water offshore. Up over the fire-lit rim dark clouds reared. They stretched out great wings south and north, and seemed to threaten the land. Elendil shivered. Behold, the eagles of the Lord of the West are coming, a threat to Numenor, he murmured. What dost thou say? Said Herondale. Is it not decreed that the king of Numenor shall be called Lord of the West? It is decreed by the king, but that does not make it so, answered Elendil. But I meant not to speak aloud, my heart is foreboding. Let us go. The light was fading swiftly as they passed up the paths of the garden amid flowers, pale and luminous in the twilight. The trees were shedding sweet night scents. A Lomelinde began its thrilling bird song by a pool. Above them rose the house. Its white walls gleamed as if moonlight was imprisoned in their substance, but there was no moon yet, only a cool light, diffused and shadowless. Through the clear sky, like fragile glass, small stars stabbed their white flames. A voice from a high window came falling down like silver into the pool of twilight where they walked. Elendil knew the voice. It was the voice of Firiel, a maiden of his household, daughter of Arontor. His heart sank, for Firiel was dwelling in his house because Arontor had departed. Men said he was on a long voyage. Others said that he had fled the displeasure of the king. Elendil knew that he was on a mission from which he might never return, or return too late, and he loved Arontor, Firiel was fair. Now her voice sang an even song in the Arasam tongue, but made by men long ago. The nightingale ceased. Elendil stood still to listen, and the words came to him, far off and strange as a melody in archaic speech sung sadly in the forgotten twilight in the beginning of man's journey in the world. Iluvatar, and Kare Eldine Firimoin, Antarotar Monarch Valion, Messier. The Father made the world for elves and mortals, and he gave it to the hands of the lords who are in the west. So sang Firiel on high until her voice fell sadly to the question with which that song ends. Monter and Taba nin Iluvatar, Nare-tar, Inyakwaluva, what will Iluvatar give me in that day beyond the end, when my son faileth? Amen on Tavaru, what will he give indeed? Said Elendil, and stood in somber thought. She should not sing that song out of a window, said Herndil, breaking the silence. They sing it otherwise now. Malco cometh back, they say, and the king shall give us the sun forever. I know what they say, said Elendil. Do not say to thy father, nor in his house. He passed in at a dark door, and Herndil, shrugging his shoulders, followed him.